is CNN Breaking News.
We are covering the violence on the streets of Bangkok, and Thailand's Prime Minister has just finished addressing the nation. They want to turn to Dan Rivers now, who is in Bangkok. Dan, give us an idea of what the Prime Minister said.
Well, Apasit Wejjijiwa went on Thai television, broadcast on all channels, to explain what is happening here. He said there are armed groups among the red shirt protesters. He said a small group of those protesters, a small clique of them, want civil war. He used the word civil war, and they want to cause losses. He went on to explain how the government and the army are trying to counter that. He said armed groups are mingling among civilians and attacking army checkpoints, that they're using M79 grenade launchers, but what we're doing is necessary. We can't allow the rule of law to fail. He went on to talk about the fact we can't have armed groups roaming the streets, and reiterated his intentions to try and end this quickly. He said the longer the protest continues, the higher the risk to the public, and if we allow it to continue, it will set a bad precedent. We're trying to get women and children to leave, he said, but the best way to stop the losses is to end the protests. He appealed to the people for their understanding. He spoke of the false rumours circulating that they are going to enter the protest site soon, saying that what they're trying to do is to surround it, and that what they're doing is for the benefit of society long term. So pretty serious words when the Prime Minister of the country is talking about the possibility of one small group here attempting to bring Thailand into civil war. That gives you an idea of the gravity that the Prime Minister views this situation, but he was basically saying throughout he's tried negotiation, he's tried a reconciliation plan, and it's been rejected by the protesters.
Dan, what have you seen? Have you seen evidence of these protesters armed, and is there intent here to trigger civil war?
Rosemary, I have seen a lot of protesters, the hardcore protesters, out clearly looking menacing with sticks and staves and batons and slingshots and rocks ready to throw. I personally have never seen any red shirt protesters or their black shirt guards with guns, although that is being alleged here by many media organisations. I personally haven't seen that with my own eyes. But what we have seen today are some terrible clashes. We were basically caught up in one outside the protest area, to the north of the protest area today. Nearby in Victory Monument, we saw people out on the streets clapping on small groups of red shirts as they faced off with the army. And I think this video is the most compelling of all that came into us today. This clearly shows army snipers shooting towards people. My colleague Sarah Seidner was on the scene nearby and clearly saw people being shot. We don't know whether the people that she saw being shot were being shot by these army snipers, but this is clear evidence that the army has got snipers out on the streets and that they are firing towards people. Now, we don't know if the people that they're firing towards they've seen people carrying guns, or whether they think these people are armed, but I think that video speaks fairly clearly and shows just how dangerous it is on the streets now. There are bullets flying in all directions and large explosions going off, and it's been going on pretty much all day, certainly where we were and where Sarah was today, down on Rama 4 road, just a few hundred metres away.
And Dan, this is the newest video we have in, isn't it, from the streets of Bangkok?
That's right, and I think this is the first time I have seen army snipers in action. I must stress, we don't know what the army snipers are seeing down their telescopic sights, but clearly there are men in army fatigues who are using telescopic rifles, and this ties in with a lot of eyewitness accounts that we've had on Rama 4 claiming that people are being shot by snipers. I've had lots of people calling me saying, you know, people are being picked off by snipers. Now, we don't know whether the people that are being picked off by army snipers, but clearly the army has got snipers deployed, and clearly they are firing in these pictures.
All right, our Dan Rivers reporting there from Bangkok. This after the statements from the Prime Minister in Thailand, who claims that groups of these protesters are armed, and their intention here, according to the Prime Minister, is to trigger civil war. Also looking at that new footage that came into CNN. You can see more of that at the top of the hour. We're just less than 15 minutes away from our news. Do stay with us. We'll leave you now with Worldview in Progress.